It was crazy. Yeah. And chana now, chana now, chana now. Wow. Good morning. I figured I'd save you the ultimate morning ugly view and not show you the laying in a hammock still asleep shot. So I'm sitting in my hammock and it's 7:30. It's kind of cool out, nice and brisk, nice and just I don't know the word. But either case, I woke up at 6 and it was still dark outside. And pretty much, I slept halfway decent, but for the most part, the dumb train that's that way it must go over the road somewhere because it has to blow its horn. And on top of that, it sounds like one of the tracks is loose, so when it goes over, it's like as it's going over it. And it woke me up a few times. It was annoying. But either case, yeah, this is what morning looks like here on the hill. So, gonna get up and probably get everything packed up and probably eat a little bit of breakfast. And then what I'm thinking about doing, I hadn't showed you yet. I hadn't even showed you the map, but I may do that at breakfast. But I'm gonna head out across this field. I'm just gonna do the loop on this field. That the only real they're not finished with that loop yet, but I'm gonna do it just to get a jump on it and see it. And then that's pretty much all I'm going to do. So that's, I think, about a mile loop, and then I'm going to swing back through, actually come right back by this campsite and head down the hill and head on back out. So probably looking at doing about 2 miles, 2.5 miles today. It's recreation more than anything, just being out here, like I said. So that's the plan. Skippity-doo-dah, skippity-day. Yeah. Well, let's get to it. Races. It's hard. These have been good last night. I think I'll have me another. Don't worry, folks. We're good. Peanut butter cups for breakfast. That's all right there. That's what I heard all night. And at night, it's louder for some reason. Don't know why. It just sounds louder. Especially those tracks clacking. Clack, 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 clack. It sounds louder. train. Probably the one thing that I hate most when I go hiking, that I probably hate most, is leaving camp. There it is. And there's the trees that I hung from, and I really hate that. Because that means I gotta walk. But it also means that I can't sit around anymore. I gotta get to where I'm going, whether I'm going home or whether I'm going to the next campsite or whatever. I hate leaving camp. Because it means, in some semblance, it means you're done. And I like staying out here. But you know, when it's multi-nights, and typically, it just means I'm getting to the next campsite, which is kind of cool, but still it's just the point of having to leave camp. But still hear that train. That's the same train. Anyway, so we're going to head down to the observation tower and eat breakfast and look out on the field and see if there's any deer, because that's about really all there is. So here we are on the observation tower. Got my cook pot, got my breakfast skillet. That's water. And we're going to just have us a seat up here and enjoy the view while we eat our quick breakfast. You can see down there, see the river? It's right there. Right there as it is. There I'm pointing. And anyway, there's not access down to that river right here, per se, if you want to climb down a bank, and I mean climb. You'd probably fall more than anything. But anyway, I was talking to a ranger yesterday, and he said that they put some steps way down there where we're going to be going, because they intended that to be a kayak and canoe get out and put in, and they realized it was just too dangerous. And so quite honestly, if any of them's watching, I would highly suggest you take those stairs and move them down here, because if you're camping back here, you need access to water, and there's no water. There's no access to water right there. So that makes a big deal. Anyway, so we're going to get this loaded up here. Yowza. Pull out our spoon. Spoon! And then we're going to give it a little bit of a mix. Let that water rehydrate some of that. I absolutely love breakfast skillet. It's well, that's probably gonna go tumble right off the tower. But man, I love breakfast skillet, and something I didn't think about when I went to Walmart yesterday was I didn't get no tortillas, so it hurts because I like a tortilla on my breakfast skillet. So we're gonna give that 10 minutes to warm up, and we're gonna observe and be eating some breakfast. It's roughly, not roughly to it, it's 8:42, and it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Could you be mine? If Frank Sinatra sang that song, wouldn't that be cool? I think so. Yeah, I do.
Sage advice.
Well, while we're sitting here waiting and listening to the airplane go over, I was figured I'd show you. Right here is where I parked the truck. campground. And I just walked through this parking lot down to the trail right here. And I just followed the river all the way over to here to where the observation deck is, where I'm at now. And right up the hill is where the backcountry sites are. So that's not very far. It says 0.9 miles, so that's to the next star. So you add all that, it's probably, you know, a mile. Well, yeah, it is. So there's a 0.1, so another mile, a mile and a tenth or something like that. What I'm gonna try to do next is, after I get done eating, this is not fully finished, but that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna come around here. That just it trails the river, and it's beside this field. It's right over there, and follow it around and hit this red. Here's the steps that the park ranger was saying that they built. Basically, you can see here they built them out of these. But in either case, they just basically put them down in the ground like that, and goes down to the river. And this is where they had hoped to create a get in, get out spot for the kayaking canoes, but they he said that they felt it was a little dangerous, so they hadn't really been promoting this area to get in and get out. Plus, there's nowhere really to go. And on top of that, as we're in this little area looking kind of, that's where the trail comes from right there. I don't know if you can see that. Down that way, yeah. So we're going to go, it looks like, on through the field, and it might cut over, but yeah, unfinished right now. Saw some deer scat. Looked like they've been eating on some sort of bean. And it's right now, I mean, there is no developed trail. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm using my funky phone. Yeah, but really no developed trail, just kind of cut down with a grass or a lawnmower, or however they cut it down. But really not developed yet, so they're still working on that. So we're getting away from the river and walking in this tall grass. Yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. Well, right now we're on this kind of rise, and I wish I could kind of show it to you, but really it's this circle rise, and you can see that's a little bit lower land right there, and I think that's where they get the idea of this being wetlands. They've created this berm, per se, to get up above what would initially be wet. And there goes a hiker that I just talked to a while ago, right over there. He's bringing it back around, which I'm going to try to pick up the trail down there. But either case, yeah, we're in the middle of the field. So if you're following, as of right now, of October 2016, if you're following the trail map, it's wrong in the sense that it does not really skirt the river. It comes out into the middle of the field. You can see there's the river over there where the tree line is. I'm in the middle of the field, and that's where the ranger said that the trail went, and he showed me that the trail map was a little off in that sense. So we're walking right down the middle of the field practically, and if we had considerable amount of rain, this to my right, maybe even to my left, would be underwater, and we'd be up on a small little rise above it. So keep that in mind if you're watching this and you're hiking the wetlands trail anytime soon. Don't really look at the map as what the map says. You're going to walk through the middle of the field. They'll get it finished, and it'll be a good trail. I'm kind of excited that they're adding more trails here at Henry Horton, and I also heard that they're adding more trails at David Crockett State Park, with some backcountry camping there too. So I'm kind of excited about that as well, because that's nearby, roughly within 45 minutes of my house. So yeah, good stuff. Alright, we just walked around the big field and we have gotten to where the next intersection is right here. And because I'm so smart and decided to start filming before I knew where we were going to be connecting to basically a connector trail. There is no name, and it's going to be about a half a mile on the connector trail. So when we get up in here, we should be hitting right, and then that'll take us back past the campsite that I stayed at last night. Roughly a mile and a half left for today, and then we'll get out of here. So just got into the woods. Let me show you something that if people would leave alone, it makes it kind of cool. It makes you appreciate things a little bit more. It's actually kind of cool. Here we have on the trail these rocks on the side. They put some rocks here too, but one of these is not the same. You see that? Turtle shell. That's kind of cool. And hopefully people will leave it alone so other people can appreciate it too. So, not a big problem, but ran into something that if anybody from Henry Horton ever sees this, maybe they can think about. And it's kind of on the map, so it's not that big of a deal, but someone who doesn't know how to read a map or isn't very savvy in the woods might start getting a little upset. Maybe not upset, just confused or scared or something. Anyway, here I have a trail that goes this way and it goes that way. On the map it does say that this little connector trail from that field back there does tee off. So knowing my map, I'm gonna go right because that's where the backcountry campsite is. And I've hiked this trail before. I know that the backcountry campsites are on top of a hill. This is going downhill, this is going uphill. So I'm just going to put two and two together and go right. And I'm pretty sure that's going to take me back to the backcountry campsites. And then we'll be right back out. But I would highly suggest if you're going to make a T, Henry Horton, that you may want to put some signage up, even if it's simple signage. And you may be working on that because this is a new trail. So don't get me wrong. Y'all may have some guy off in a wood shop putting it together right now. Who knows? But in any case, just a little heads up. There's a T here. If you're going to the river, go right. If you're going back into some other trails, go left. I'm going right. All right, we're almost back to where we started. I was right when I took the right and went past the backcountry campsites, and now we're right here by the river and heading back about another half mile. This trip will be done. So I do appreciate you watching. And if there was a couple of takeaways from coming to Henry Horton here in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. One, if you're going to hammock camp in the backcountry, go to camp site number 3. If you're going to sleep in a tent, I would suggest going to campsite number 1. 2 just didn't have anything that I desired. And bring some earplugs because the traffic noise is not very alluring or very pleasing while you're back here in the woods, because you still are close to Nashville Highway and you're still close enough to some train that wants to blow his horn because I'm sure it's a road crossing and that's something they have to do, and they have to blow their horn when they cross the road. So I'm sure it's probably near 2 different road crossings, so they come through all hours of the night. It's not just like they come through 1 hour. They come through, I would honestly say, probably hourly. So it'll wake you up if you don't have some earplugs or some earbuds or something jamming in your ears so that you don't hear the outside noise. Did hear some dogs last night, so I'm sure there's some residences close enough to hear that. But other than that, Henry Horton has some nice trails. and that new trail that they're building, the wetland trail, is going to be nice. And what they've built in the woods that they've already finished is very nice. I really enjoyed that portion of the trail. It was soft and on the feet, and it was through the pines, and it was just really cool little spot to be walking through. All right, it is, let me see, 10 o'clock. So I was up at 7. I actually woke up at 6, but I was up at 7. Ate breakfast about 8, and then took off towards the trails. And now I'm about a half mile from the truck. So I'm going to shut up my mug, if you fill up my jug, with some good old Mountain Dew and a fudge round. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, they call it that good old Mountain Dew, and them that refuse it are few. I'll hush up my mug if you fill up my jug.